Good morning, family. How y'all doing? On top and going higher. That's what I'm talking about. Well, guys, it's a blessing to be here with y'all this morning. It's really, truly an honor to be able to stand here and speak with you guys about the topic of leadership today and some different things that we're going to be able to apply not only in ministry, but in our daily lives to not only help ourselves be better, but anybody that's following us to really just give them a great example. All right, so guys, we're going to start from the top. At the top of your packets that everybody should have. Does everybody have a packet? All right, we got to get Deke a packet. I feel good this morning. Y'all feel good? That's a blessing to be alive. So, guys, at the top of everyone's packet, it says leadership fundamentals. And, guys, when you think about fundamentals in anything, the fundamentals are what makes something work. You can have all the tricks, you can have all the pizzazz, you can have all the charisma in the world. But if you don't have the fundamentals, you will not be able to be successful for the long term. And another thing, guys, that comes along with fundamentals is duplication. If you have fundamentals, you can show someone else fundamentals that they can apply because they may not have that sense of persuasion or that charisma or that image that you possess. You guys with me? So, guys, right underneath that, it says successful leadership. Now, we started off saying successful leadership because there's all different kinds of leadership. Has anyone here worked somewhere where you had a manager that was in a leadership position that you knew within the first 2 days was not qualified to do that job effectively? They were still the leader, but it was not successful leadership. You had a revolving door, people not wanting to work with them. You had personality flaws, lack of responsibility, all kinds of stuff. So today we're going to talk about how to be a successful leader. And the first thing, guys, it talks about is setting an example. It says / standard of high performance. A successful leader has a different standard than an unsuccessful leader. Your expectation has to be at the highest level. For example, we are taught in my business that people are only going to do half of what you teach them right, but twice as wrong as whatever you show them wrong. So your expectations of yourself have to be higher than everyone else involved. So, for example, if you have children and you want your children to go to school and get good grades, you should have a job and go to work every day. It's the truth. If you don't go to work every day and your kids don't want to go to school, it's not their fault. Your standard of performance, your expectation of them, they now are losing respect for you on a daily basis. It's not like they naturally don't like you because they love you, but you're asking them to do something that you're not willing to do yourself. And that's one thing, guys, that a leader has to understand. He's not the commander. He's actually the first one to do the work. And by him setting the example of how the work is supposed to be done, sets a tone of how the rest of the team is going to perform. So, guys, what is leadership? Leadership is the foundation. Please write that down for me, guys, foundation. Because when you think about a foundation, guys, the foundation is the beginning of a structure. And a structure cannot be built bigger than its foundation or stronger than its foundation. So, guys, there's a couple things that successful leaders have to do in order to set the right foundation. For one, they got to have the right habits. What are habits? Guys, right there in blue, it says habits are what you become known for. Habits are like your DNA. People look at you and they see what you are known for. Before they hear a word coming out of your mouth, they in their mind, they're processing. Oh, here she come with this again. Oh, here and so come. Because you have a habit of either flying off the handle or being 30 minutes late or doing a halfway job, right? But if those habits are positive, not only is that person receiving you, but the people that you're leading are embracing you and receiving any kind of instruction you give them with a completely different mentality. Because the leadership is setting the foundation. But the foundation, guys, really is the root of a mentality. A person with a weak mentality is never going to perform at a high level. That means the leader has to have the strongest mentality in the room. Guys, like in our business, I tell my guys, we're not allowed to complain. Because if you talk about how cold it is, the people on your team are going to give you excuses. The reason they're not working hard is because it's cold. Like, guys, I remember when I ran a business in St. Louis. I'm from the South. I don't know if you guys have ever been to St. Louis before, but St. Louis has, to me, has a crazy weather. They have the worst winter You're getting -6, feet of snow, all kinds of stuff. But in the summer, it's 106. It's 110. You get all of it. And when you're walking business to business and it's 110 degrees outside and you have on a suit and tie and you're carrying a box or a bag and you're selling product, all right, you're hot. It just seems like the sun is getting closer and closer to your face as the day goes on. And if you talk about how hot it is, it seems like it's getting hotter. So we used to tell guys, it's not hot, we're hot. Just to set that mentality. Negative breeds negative, positive brings positive. And you become what you talk about. Guys, that's very, very important that you realize you become what you talk about, because what you talk about has to become a habit as well. Your habits become what you become known for. I bet you everybody here knows a complainer. Everybody knows when your phone rings and you see a certain person's name on that phone, almost already what the topic of this conversation is going to be. It's the truth. They've set that foundation in your mind of what you can expect from them based on the habits. Leaders are also what other people duplicate. So guys, now what we're going to talk about is some of the habits a successful leader must have. Guys, you guys see something right there where it says A, it says 8 steps. The definition of the 8 steps is the system for building successful work habits. This is the foundation, this is the backbone of the business that I've been in for almost 11 years. And to be honest with you, if you take this system and you apply it to anything you want to do or be successful at in life, you will be successful if you apply these habits every day. Number 1 is be on time. Actually, guys, I apologize. I ain't had much coffee. Number 1 is actually have a positive attitude. Excuse me. I'm a step ahead. Number 1 is have a positive attitude. I apologize. Right next to that, guys, write this down. 99% attitude, 1% ability. If you have a great attitude, you will advance to positions in life that you do not have the ability to handle yet. But because of your attitude, people want to put you in a position to give you an opportunity to learn. Because you're going to be positive while you're learning. You're going to be a joy to be around. They're going to get something out of helping you develop the skills you need to. So guys, number 1 is have a positive attitude. That's the first habit that you have to have, is force yourself to be positive no matter what. I'm not telling you you're not going to get sick. I'm not telling you you're not going to have days where you're irritated, not days where you don't feel like it. You're going to have those days. We're humans. But guys, this is something I say, mind over matter. If you don't mind, it don't matter. And if you have a positive attitude, it'll push you through anything. Like, for example, guys, everybody repeat after me. Get excited.
Get excited.
Get excited.
Get excited.
One more time. Get excited.
Get excited.
Now, if you look around the room, most of the people are smiling. Because you're speaking that to yourself. And that's something I tell myself, is get excited. Okay, what am I getting excited about? It don't matter, but if I'm excited, it's going to be better than it would be if I sit around and complain about it. Number 2 is be on time. This is a habit a successful leader must have. If you're a leader and you're leading an army out to a battlefield, you can't show up to the war late. You're going to lose. Everybody going to die. That's how it works. Has anybody ever showed up to a business that you know opens up at 9 o'clock? You're in the parking lot waiting to spend your money, right? Or the rest of the people are there ready to go to work, and the manager doesn't show up until 9:15? You got people leaving, going home. That, you know what, I'm not working today. Their attitude has changed. You have customers that now enter your business with, oh, I've been waiting here 15 minutes. Why? Because the leader didn't have the right habit of just being on time. Write this down next to be on time. If you're not early, you're late. Guys, in my mind, time is money. Guys, one thing I like to do, I talk about all the time, I like making money. But you know what you need? You need time to make money. The more time you have, the more money you can make. The more time you have, the more impact you can make on your family. For example, anybody here have kids? Kids participate in extracurricular activities, sports, ballet, music, all kinds of different stuff. The most important thing to your kid is not how good they are. It's you being there when they need you to be there. When they're at the free throw line and they look to the crowd and they see mom, they see dad, that matters more than them whether if they hit the shot or not. And believe it or not, you're impacting the rest of your life just by having the habit of being there on time when the game started. Because please believe, they know when you're there and when you're not. Has anybody been fired for being late before? I'm the only one in the room that's been fired for being late? For real? I'm the only one in the room that's been fired for being late. All right, there we go. Well, the truth is I got fired for being late. I was working at Walmart. I was trying to work to get my first car when I was in the 10th grade. And I got off the school bus, ran in, had my book bag, and she said, "This third time you're late, you're fired." And I lost an opportunity because I was late. The truth is, you will lose opportunities in life if you don't have just the habit of being on time. They will rather have a person that has a lower skill set with a better habit of being on time than a person who doesn't. Why? Because this person has a habit of being more responsible. In their mind, they don't have the option of being late because the foundation of their mentality is, I have to set the tone for the rest of the team. And you know what it shows? A habit shows you can be dependent on. Can people depend on you? What do people depend on you for? Next thing, guys, step number 3 is be prepared. As a leader, you have to be more prepared than anyone else. There's 2 ways you absolutely have to be prepared all the time. Number 1 is mentally. As a leader, why do I have to be prepared mentally? Why can't I just show up and tell people what to do? Because as a leader, you have more responsibility than anyone else involved. You don't know what's going to get thrown at you. So you have to be prepared mentally to work your way through it with what? A positive attitude. Have you ever ran into someone before and they were not prepared for what was going on and they got presented a situation that they weren't prepared for and they handled it all wrong and people were negatively affected by it? Everybody's seen it before. Like, guys, some people they come to work on the edge already. They brought all their problems from home to work with them, to church with them, to the living room with the kids while they go over their homework with them. And he said something that she felt was smart, or so-and-so looked at me the wrong way, or you got a problem presented to you at work right away, and you got all this stuff going on, and they just explode. Yeah. And what happens? The problem doesn't get solved properly. People are now afraid to bring situations to you, so now you're not getting all the information you need, all because you're not mentally prepared. Guys, and as leaders, I need you to understand, as leaders, you are the one who's going to deal with the most negativity. That's why the manager gets paid more than the fry guy. He doesn't have to be mentally prepared for anything. He pushes the button. What happens in the store when you're not happy? Let me speak to a manager. That manager has to be mentally prepared for anything that's about to come out of your mouth. And even if you're dead to the wrong, he's got to be prepared to make you feel good about it, apologize, take accountability, and retain your business. If not, what happens? He loses his job. Because if that one customer calls corporate, you know what? All because you weren't mentally prepared to deal with someone who was upset about waiting in line for 20 minutes, you are now unemployed. So that's one way you want to be prepared, guys, is mentally. The second way you want to be prepared, guys, is physically. Guys, the truth is most of us don't take good care of ourselves. And the worse our habits are with taking care of ourselves, the worse our body actually operates. Because anybody heard the saying, when you feel good, you do good? Yeah. It's the truth. Anybody ever pulled an all-nighter before? Like didn't go to sleep and then went to work? I'm telling you the truth. I started this in business when I was 19. I've done it many times, but I know by 2 o'clock in the afternoon, I am not performing at my highest level. I am not setting the best example. Guys, I fell asleep in an interview before. It's the truth. Guys, as leaders, you're not going to be perfect. A lot of times you learn by making mistakes, and you have to correct yourself, and you have to be able to check your habits. This 8-step systems, guys, that we're going over right now gives you the opportunity to break down any situation that you deal with and check your habits to see if you handled it effectively. Very good, very good. So, guys, you want to be physically prepared. Guys, write this down for me. Dress the part. No, this is part of being physically prepared. Number 3, being mentally and physically prepared. You got to dress the part. That's part of being physically prepared. You don't show up to a basketball game to play ball dressed in a suit. You don't show up to a major business meeting or something where you want to make an impression on someone in a t-shirt and jeans. The truth is, almost no matter how the relationship is, you want to be prepared to handle that as if you were going to meet the president. Because that person you're communicating with is looking at your example of leadership on how are you going to lead these people? How are you going to lead yourself to get the best out of this opportunity that we're providing you? Because if you do it now, God knows you're going to do it again. Because this is the habit I'm seeing. And sometimes you only get one chance to show your habits. It's just like a job interview. For example, when you shake someone's hand, how do you make them feel? Anybody ever got a weak handshake? One of them old, they stick the 4 fingers out? Leaders, I'm letting you know right now, when you give somebody a weak handshake, that person also automatically thinks you are a weak individual. So guys, the next one, we're going to step number 4. The 4th habit you want to have, guys, it says work a full day. Now, a lot of this sounds like common sense. But on jobs, how many times do you catch people doing absolutely nothing? If your kids see you in the house and you're sitting around, laying around doing nothing, and the house is dirty, and you haven't been at work all day, they come home from school, but you want me to go in my room and do my homework. And guys, a lot of people think working a full day is just the time you put in. I've been here 8 hours. You've been here 8 hours, but you did nothing in these 8 hours. Write this down for me, guys. 100% effort throughout the day. You got to give 100% effort. Our mentality in our business is 100% effort or until goal is met. Because, for example, if we gave it all day long and we still didn't reach the goal and we got to go work an extra couple hours at night to make those $40, we go out and do it because the goal has to get met. Because if the goal doesn't get met, bills don't get paid. So, for example, guys, this isn't something you have to write down, but in my mentality and the mentality that we try to instill in the people is become the hardest working person you know. Because you will not let yourself down. At the end of the day, the worst feeling in the world is not having what you need and looking in the mirror and knowing you could have did more. Knowing you could have did more. And guys, to be honest, in an employee environment, an employer mentality is production. All they care about is production. People say business is cutthroat. Business is the real world. This is the real world. Like, guys, I saw one of my friends from high school post on Facebook, America is no longer a country. It's a business. And I related. I liked it. I reposted it because it's the truth. And what's crazy is most of our life, our culture is bred to look for the gravy job. We want a job where we don't do nothing. And then you call and celebrate. Hey man, I just got this gravy job. I don't do nothing. And you know what? And then the person they're talking says, for real, can you get me on? You are so expendable. And then we really go there and do nothing instead of trying to find something to do. Because if they know you've got all your work done, but you're helping someone else get their work done, and you're going and requesting more work to get done, you know what's going to happen? They're going to find more stuff to do and find a way to pay you more money because you are more valuable. And what happens is everyone else in the area picks up their productivity. But you know what happens if you're not a real leader? You let the rest of the people who really don't want to do nothing affect you. Man, slow down. You're working too hard. You're making us look bad. And then they slow down. Okay. Instead of saying, hey, man, my goal is to move up. My goal is to get raised. My goal is to advance. My goal is to advance the kingdom ministry. Yeah, I'm going out and passing out flyers. I'm posting on Facebook. I'm doing whatever I need to do because their mentality is work harder. Guys, one thing that doesn't make sense to me is how me and someone have the same amount of time in a day, but you decide that you do absolutely nothing with it. And at the end of the day, you complain about the results. Like, if we're going to make money, we should make as much money as possible. If we're going to work in the ministry, we should get as much done in the day as possible. The same amount of time is going to pass if we do nothing. You're going to be here 10 hours anyway. And you know what? One thing about idle time usually makes you focus on the negative. You think of everything you don't have. You think of everything you don't like. Man, you know, so-and-so. So many of these situations would never happen if you were busy. And that's all a habit. So step number 4, guys, working a full day, 100% effort. Step number 5 is work your territory correctly. Now, in my industry, this refers to going in every single business, not skipping a door, not skipping a person, and communicating with every person you speak to throughout the day. But when it comes to working your territory correctly, guys, this is something you can apply to anything. For example, we have there's kids in the back, not all adults in the room. All right. Anybody ever walked into a bathroom that was supposed to be cleaned and the person just kind of wiped the mirror, wiped the sink, right? And then they left and said the bathroom was clean. Now, my grandmother used to do a test. She used to lick her finger and wipe the little thing in the bathroom. Or somewhere that you naturally wouldn't look. Behind the toilet, go like this, and she'd be like, oh, you ain't going nowhere. My grandmother worked her territory correctly to see if you gave 100%. For example, guys, we're adults in here. I'm going to try to keep this as unexplicit as possible. When it comes to satisfying your mate, there's a way you can work your territory correctly. It's the truth. Right? Has any of you ever been in a situation? Everybody's been in a situation where somebody didn't work their territory correctly. They just wanted to get what they wanted real quick. Not ready. Guys, working your territory correctly makes all the difference in the world. If you walk in the front door of your house, is the beginning of your house organized and clean? Or is everything just thrown in one closet to make that front of the part of the house look good? But when you go in the bedrooms, it's all dirty. This is a habit of efficiency. That's all this is making sure I cover all of my bases. When I get $100, I count that $100 and I allocate every one of the $100. It's not like I have extra money. People kill me with that. I paid my $60 bill. I got $40 extra. In your mind, extra is a habit for waste. Saving? What about saving? It should be like, this goes to the bills, the necessities. This goes towards savings. And if we have any fun money or whatever, this should be something that's planned as well. And also something that's kept account of. Most people get their check and they're broke by Monday because they thought they had extra money. And then they want to borrow $10, $20 from you for lunch. And guys, some people, I'm going to be honest with you, dig right in your pocket. Hey, brother, I got you. You helping that habit. I'm going to say, nah, man, you got paid on Friday like I did. Man, I need mine. I can't tell my wife I ain't got no, I gave it to you. No. I might get a flat tire tomorrow, man. I might need that. Then if you set that example, you know what happens? They can't be mad at you. Hey, man, you should have saved your money. You look like, you know, like as I had a conversation with my little brother. My little brother's mouth had swollen up. He's got a tooth he hadn't taken care of. And I had been talking to him for about maybe 2.5 months. You need to get your tooth pulled. You need to get your tooth pulled. You make money every single day. Put $20 a day to the side. Do whatever you need to do. So the next day, about 3 weeks later, he sends me a picture of his face. His face is huge. And he's telling me he can't come to work now. But he doesn't have any money. But the last day he came to work, he was showing me his new shoes he bought. So I text him, you might want to take those shoes back. Brother is not loaning you no money to fix your tooth. Sometimes I don't even have to tell you no. I'm just saying, hey, maybe you could do X, Y, Z, but this don't have nothing to do with me. So guys, step number 5 is work your territory correctly. Step number 6 is keep a positive attitude. Step number 1 is have a positive attitude. Step number 6 is keep a positive attitude. Why is it mentioned twice? Because as leaders throughout the day and throughout your position, you are going to be faced with negativity. It's easy to start off positive, but it's difficult to maintain. Write this down for me. Safeguard your attitude. You have to protect your attitude. How do I protect my attitude? I spend the least amount of time with negative people as possible. I treat my attitude like it's a baby and everyone else is a child molester. I'm serious, because my attitude is the gas to my car. If you come over here, it's like, for example, when we deal with negatives, we walk into a business, some people love us, hey, what are you selling today? But as soon as I run into that person that's just like, we don't want it, before they even complete the sentence, no problem, thanks, have a good day. I ran into a guy yesterday when I was in the field doing sales. He was a middle-aged black man dressed really professional inside a Subway. And he was just like, so I see y'all out here selling this hot stuff. This stuff is stolen. I got a name badge on. I'm in a suit and tie. I've got a 6'4", college degree white kid standing next to me. You know what I mean? I'm writing receipts to a customer that's buying behind the counter right now. And while he's talking, my guy's trying to explain, no, sir, we work for a wholesale company and blah, blah. I'm like, stop. There's no point in getting to a back and forth with him, trying to convince him, because what's going to happen is his attitude is going to affect yours, and you're going to walk away thinking about him. Man, that guy didn't have to be like that, blah, 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 blah. And now what's happening is I'm carrying this negative with me. So now when I go to this next person or I go to this next situation, I'm not going to be as positive as I need to or as effective as I need to, because I'm not able to keep a positive attitude. Why? Because I didn't safeguard it. How do you protect your attitude in the ministry? Stay away from people who complain all the time. If you're under the same one, you hear, did you see how so-and-so looked at so-and-so? Be like, no, I was praying. That was a good word today, wasn't it? I love you. I'll see you later. You heard the saying, misery loves company. Why don't we really honor that? Misery does love company. And sometimes you got to recognize it. And guys, to be honest with you, if you hit a negative with a positive enough times, usually that negative starts questioning itself. I'm going to give you guys an example. My first office I ran in Jackson, Tennessee. I was 19 years old, and there was a shoe store in downtown Jackson. Like, guys, that was almost 11 years ago. And Tennessee 11 years ago, you know the times aren't the same. Right? There was a shoe store. It had a no soliciting sign in the front. I walk inside this business. This guy tells me, there's no soliciting. Get out of here. Kind of aggressive. No problem. Have a good day. 2 weeks later, we got new product. I'm in that territory. I work my territory correctly. I'm not skipping a door or a person. I'm going right back in that same door. All right? This time I come back, he's got a bigger no soliciting sign. I'm serious. I walk in this business. I give him the pitch, and he's looking at me like, aren't you stupid? Right? I'm like, no, sir, thanks. Have a good day. I leave. Keep my attitude. Right? This happens like 3 or 4 more times. He's always telling me no. He gets a little bit more irate. And every time I come back, he's got more signs. I'm serious. He didn't even have a storefront window no more. It's no soliciting. This means we shoot solicitors, blah, blah, blah. Right? So maybe after like my 6th or 7th time walking in this door, I'm going back in that territory, and I have a trainee, and I let the trainee know I'm preparing this trainee for what's about to happen. All right? Because I need him to be able to keep a positive attitude. Now, look, man, we go in every business. Who knows? He may be off today. He may have hired an employee. But usually when we go in this business, he's really rude. But we're just going to go in here, and I'm going to show you how to handle a no. All right? Yeah. It's like, okay, cool. So I walk in this business. Hey, sir, how you doing? He's like, you have got to be out of your mind. I said, no, we're just doing a promotion today. It's 80% off. You don't got to buy nothing. Check it out. So I'm going through it. He's like, man, what are you selling? Just show me. He's like, how much? As soon as I got the price, yeah, I'll take 2 of those. And all that is now, if I would have ever, on any of those occasions when I walked in that door, showed an inkling of negativity, that day would have never happened. We walked out of that door, and that guy was like, I thought you said he was mean. So, man, we kill him with kindness. So, guys, you have to be, one thing about keeping a positive attitude, you have to be able to develop thick skin. Weak people don't make good leaders. Weak people do not make good leaders. You have to be able to be strong. This will determine how strong your team is. This will determine how strong your business is, how strong your ministry is. Because if the leadership cracks and breaks down every time they're faced with a negative, what happens is everyone that's following is going to be hurt as a result. So that's why you got to leave your personal problems at home. That's why you can't take how you feel about a person into the problem. So-and-so's not operating, oh, I can't stand him or her anyway. Let me go tell. And now instead of you being a good leader and keeping a positive attitude, and for example, guys, leaders always have someone else that they're following. And that's someone else that they're following sometimes is going to give them constructive criticism. What do they have to do? They have to have thick skin and take it. Because if they break when someone's trying to build them up, they are not qualified. How strong of a leader do you want to be for your family, for the business you're a part of, for your church? What do you want to do? Because if you cannot keep a positive attitude, to be honest with you, you might as well not even start. Sit back and develop yourself some more and learn, watch tapes, do whatever you need to do. Now, guys, this is my attitude about the situation. If you've been through a lot in life, this should be easy. People tell me, Bryan, you're crazy. Why are you smiling? You got a flat tire. I'd be like, look, being mad ain't going to change nothing. I've been through so much BS to where I got tired of being mad a long time ago. So can you keep a positive attitude? This determines a lot. Step number 7. Step number 7, guys, and a habit that you have to have is know why you are here and what you are doing. Now, guys, this is the driving force. This is your why. Like you go to work because you got kids, you want to take care of them, you want to give them a good life. Or you want to take care of yourself, you want to give yourself a good life. You go to church because you want to get closer to God, you want to be part of a ministry that's going somewhere, and you want to make an impact on the world and actually expand the ministry of Jesus Christ, right? Nothing else matters. If you know why you're here and what you're doing, you know what's going to happen? You're going to be able to remain positive when you don't feel like it. You're going to go to work when you don't feel like it. This is your must. Like, for example, I remember when I was in the field, guys, and I was doing sales as a brand new guy, and people started offering me jobs. And I've seen people that I was working with be like, oh, really? You're going to pay me $12 an hour? You're like, you just let somebody dangle a carrot in front of you and completely distract you off your track. While I'm here and what I'm doing, my goal was to learn to run a business out of a car until I can develop the management skills to effectively build a team that could support a business. And so I can be put in business for myself and become the president of a company. Everything else doesn't matter. If you want to sit next to me and cry, cool. You do your thing, but while I'm here and what I'm doing is to change my life and change my family tree. This is the thing that you have to look back on the most. When times get tough and you want to quit, you have to go back to why you are here and what you are doing. When you want to kick your kids out, you want to kill your kids, or your mate, or whatever it is, you got to remember why you're here and what you're doing. Step number 8 is take control. You have to have the ability to take control. Leaders don't let a situation take control of them. They take control of the situation. There's a comparison we like to use in the office. Are you a thermometer or a thermostat? Truth. What does a thermometer do? It just tells you what's going on. And how many people do you know that just run and tell you, hey, so-and-so said this, or hey, so-and-so's doing that, or hey, it's really boring in here, or are you the thermostat? What does the thermostat do? It has the ability to tell you what's going on, but also make a difference. And as a leader, there's a couple things you want to be able to take control of. Number 1 is the situation. In our business right here, we put the customer. You want to be able to take control of the customer. In this environment, how I would put it is you want to be able to take control of the negative. Don't let the negative affect you. And the last one, guys, is your future. We have a saying that says, if you don't take control of your future, someone else will. If you don't work for your own goals, you will work for someone else's goals. And as leaders, guys, honestly, any day of the week, no matter what the situation is, you can break out 8 steps, put up your 8 fingers, and work your way down the list. Did I have a positive attitude? Was I on time? Was I prepared? And guys, the truth is, if one of these go down, it's like an 18-wheeler. If you see one tire pop, you know some other tires are about to pop. Because if you're not mentally prepared, you're not going to be able to keep a positive attitude. You're not going to work a full day or give 100% effort. If you're not on time, truth is you're not prepared. And it's going to be a lot harder to remember why you're here and what you're doing when you're not mentally prepared. So these are habits, guys, that a successful leader must develop and honestly make part of his or her DNA. Next one. Guys, it says skills a successful leader must have. There's certain skills you absolutely have to have if you're going to be a successful leader. Number one is problem solving. Why do you have to be good at problem solving? Because you're going to deal with most of the problems. A, it says most people follow instead of lead due to fear of facing problems. It says don't run from problems, address them head on. It's your job as a leader. It is your responsibility to deal with the problems. If you don't want to deal with problems, don't be a leader. Guys, it says leaders successfully look at issues from others' perspectives. And guys, this is something that is a quality you have to develop. You have to be able to remove yourself from the situation and look at the situation from the eyes of other people. Like in ministry, you have to be able to look at our church from the eyes of the visitor. If you don't look at the church through the eyes of the visitor, they're not going to come back. They're not going to bring more visitors. And guys, most people remember two things like a movie. You remember the beginning and the end. It's truth. So they usually remember how it was when they walked in, and they remember how it was when they walked out. They get home and was like, what was Pastor talking about? He was talking about something good. And because it's the truth. Unless they took notes, a lot of the times, they just get the experience. So what kind of experience are they getting from you? When we embrace them, is it one of those fake hugs? Is it one of those fake smiles? Guys, everybody knows what a fake smile looks like. I love you. It's better you not say nothing. If you're uncomfortable and you're just not feeling it, it's better you not give that person a negative impact. Guys, this makes all the difference in the world. You have to be able to look at things from other people's perspective. Like, I talk to a lot of the people I'm around all the time, and when I'm talking to them about the situation, I'm talking to them about how someone else sees it. I know what your intentions are good, because most people's guys, their intentions are usually good. But how it comes off to someone else matters more than anything else. Because if we don't give the right impact on that person, they never get a chance to even find out what our intentions are. So you have to be able to look at things from other people's perspectives. C, it says address the situation, not the person. Guys, this removes the yous. Because I'm telling you, when you talk to people and you say, you did this and you did that, people say, I wonder why he got offended. Because you're offensive. You're talking at him. And if he understands, if you can get him to understand or her how what went on affects the rest of the team in a negative way and slows us down from reaching our goal, then you can actually start addressing that person. But first, the situation has to get addressed. For example, if I was a choir director, which I can't sing, I can't choir direct, none of that, all right, and let's just say we're all off. Instead of me saying, hey, you're off key, blah, 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 first I'm going to talk about how what's going on right now is interfering with us being able to bring our church into the spirit. Oh, we don't want to do that. Now what happens? Everybody starts listening. Hey, in order for us to be able to be effective as a team, we've really got to come together. All of our tunes have to be in sync. So look, this is what we're going to fix. So-and-so, you two got, I'm going to make people want to be involved in fixing the problem versus making them feel like a problem. That's awesome. Because when you make someone feel like a problem, if I'm the problem, I'm gone. That's how it goes. There's no way you should be on 6 teams in one season. The best coaches, the players don't leave. How many teams did Michael Jordan play for? 2. After the other guy was done. After he ain't had no coach to go back to, he had no choice. If you do a good job with solving problems, you want to know what? Your team is going to be excited about coming back. They're not going to be afraid of problems. And you know what? They're not going to be afraid of bringing you problems. If you don't handle problem solving well, what's going to happen is you're not even going to know all the problems anymore. And the scariest thing is to be part of something and you don't know what's wrong. Guys, D, it says verbally identify the damage or potential damage so that they understand what's wrong and how it affects the entire team. Go ahead and flip to the next page for me. E, it says problem solving should not affect the relationship between you and the people involved. It also says how you feel about the problem should usually not be conveyed. You have to remove your emotions from problem solving. This is not about how you feel about it. It's about fixing the issue. And a lot of times the people involved, they walk away saying, so-and-so doesn't like me. Do you see how he was picking me out of everybody else? Because how you feel about that person is being conveyed in how you deal with them. You know, and then you go talk to somebody else about it. You know, I don't like so-and-so, no way. Guys, everything you talk to someone else about goes to somebody else. And guys, this is how I've always looked at life. Like, I have some friends, but I have more associates. And I can love my associates too. But I'm not telling everybody my business. I'm not telling you how I feel about everybody. Because if someone will talk to you about somebody else, usually they will talk to somebody else about you. And guys, this goes back to knowing why you're here and what you're doing. Because if you remember the goal and you remember your purpose of being part of the team, what's going to happen is you're not even going to indulge in all the pettiness. Pettiness doesn't pay bills. I can't take what you're talking about and do anything with it majority of the time. Unless you're positive and you have a habit of fixing problems. Because as a team, we've got to come together to do this. So guys, make sure that no matter if you like a person or not, you show them nothing but love. And that, honestly, you got to show them extra love. Because most times people you don't like, they know you don't like them. It's the way it goes. And the people that you do like, stop showing them so much favoritism. Come on now. Just coach the team. Reach the goal. If you want everybody to give 100%, you need to treat everybody fair and equally. Guys, this makes all the difference in the world. All the difference in the world. It says manage the individual after the situation is addressed. And the process to correct the situation is in place. So after I've addressed the problem, after I've put together the plan of what we need to do to fix the problem, then I will address the individual if needed. Now, what this means is, let's just say I fix the problem. After we're done having choir rehearsal or whatever the practice is, I may pull so-and-so to the side and be like, hey, look, I know today you had a little issue. You know what I mean? We were able to fix it. All right, but I don't want you to feel any less part of the team. Everybody makes mistakes. You know what I mean? But if you keep working on what we're working on, you know what? You're going to be great, and I love having you as part of the team. You know what? This person now walks away from the problem feeling good. Feeling good about being part of the team. Now, let's just say that person is a leader, right? And they know better. Now, I'm going to deal with that person differently. Hey, I expect for you, you're the guy who sets the example. Out of everyone here, I expect more from you than everyone else. So while you're texting or on your phone while I'm talking, you know what I mean? Think about what the rest of the team is going to be doing. Now, if I shouldn't expect more from you, just let me know. I tell that to people. Like, if you want me to drop my standard for you, okay. But I just want to let you know I think highly of you, so I expect more from you. And usually, you know what happens? That person says, yeah, you're right, I was tripping. And guys, one thing you got to remember is you can't deal with everybody the same way. Some people have thicker skin than others. Sometimes you could deal with a person in public or with the rest of the team. Other people have to be pulled to the side. But you have to know that. And if you question it, wait. If you don't know how to solve the problem, bring it to somebody else. Bring it to another leader. Bring it to an elder. Bring it to a pastor. Hey, Pastor, I'm working with so-and-so. I think and make sure that you always show love. As leaders, you always have to be encouraging. You being angry is never going to help anybody learn. It's never going to help anybody be better. Just realize you're only going to escalate the problem. And the damage, you're increasing it. And the solution, you're delaying it. Guys, next one, it says, where is their head at and do they know better? When it says, where is their head at, it depends on what their mental condition is. Anybody ever seen someone who was too upset to talk to right now? Yeah. Sometimes you need to give somebody some time. And you have to be able to recognize that. And it doesn't even all have to be with the situation itself. Sometimes their head is at home. They're going through a crisis in life. Sometimes they need a pat on the back instead of the kick that you're giving them. Well, come on now. No, I'm serious. You have to be able to recognize that. Because if you constantly kicking when they need a pat, you know what's happened? They're going to break. And they're never coming back to you. Guys, we're going to continue. Problem solving is very, very important. Now, guys, this is one that makes all the difference in the world. And this just comes into controlling your language and what comes out of your mouth. G, it says, never mention the problem after the solution has positively been attained. After you've came up with the solution and y'all started working towards it, don't talk about the problem anymore. Because what happens if you talk about the problem, the person who was involved in creating the problem usually feels offended and wants to explain why he or she was doing what they were doing. Well, I was only doing it because blah, blah, blah. And now you got this back and forth thing going on. I'm letting you know, the worst thing you can do as a coach is to have a back and forth with the player in front of the team. Even if you're right, you prove him wrong, you get your last word, however you want to put it, it messes up the morale. That person, you either crush them, and the rest of the team is like, rah, right? And now they feel like they're exiled. Now they're looking at their teammates differently. So guys, don't talk about the problem after the solution's in place. I'm talking about the solution consistently, and we solve the problem. Number 2, guys, we're going to go into effective communication. As a leader, this has to be a skill. You have to be a great communicator, because if people don't understand what you're trying to convey to them, they're not going to be able to produce. And a lot of times people just give out instructions. Anybody ever been to the military in here? Yep. Anybody ever had a drill sergeant get in your face and yell at you? Yep. You don't have the option of talking back. No. You just do what they say because you're a U.S. soldier or whatever the situation is. Life isn't the Marines. Life is not the Army. That is not an example of real world. Barking orders at anyone, telling them what to do is not effective communication. Because while you're telling them what to do, you know what? They're not listening. They're thinking, if I wasn't in this church right now. Guys, I'm serious. And you don't know what's going on in people's mind. The truth is, you don't know where these people come from. You don't know what's in the house, what's in the car. You have no idea. And guys, believe it or not, some people are really crazy. All the way. And if you can't effectively communicate, you're going to bring out all the wrong stuff. But if you effectively communicate, you know what's going to happen? You're going to bring out all the good in that person. There's a couple ingredients that's got to be involved in effective communication. Guys, number 1 is it's got to be positive. This means you have to sound positive while communicating with people. Now, it's different when it's a leader among a leader or a pastor with a deacon or pastor with a minister. I can see pastor or a business owner with his top manager kind of digging into the team, or coach digging into his top player, because they're in a different situation where that coach can take the gloves off and he knows that player is prepared to deal with it. But for the masses, you have to be positive. For example, like when we go business to business and I have a trainee watching me and we're having a good day or doing whatever we do, sometimes my trainee gets excited. Right? He's supposed to be watching and just taking notes, but sometimes he gets excited and grabs something that we're selling, says, hey, we're selling these too. Right? And what happens when they do that is the customer's attention I'm communicating with goes from me and what I'm talking about to what they're talking about. So in reality, when they could actually purchase that and that, they stop listening to me, go to this, Or they might just say, hey, I'm not interested because they became distracted. Now, I could turn around and say, hey, man, didn't I tell you to take notes? Didn't you supposed to just pay attention? Right? You want a job, right? And you know what? He's just going to shrink. His confidence, all that excitement he's got is gone. Now, if I say, hey, Michael, man, I love your excitement. I love how you're getting hands-on involved, right? I saw you pulled the thing out and you wanted to show the lady the stuff, so you're really ambitious. But one thing I want you to understand is when I'm communicating with the customer, everything's impulse. They're making a split-second decision. And anything you do can affect that decision. Even if you say, hey, how much are those shoes? That's affecting the sale. So what I want you to do is, man, just focus on watching me and just taking notes, but keep that same excitement, because once I get through training you, you're going to be great. Now they're like, I'm going to be great? Cool, I'm going to take notes and watch. And the problem got solved. So for one, you got to be positive. Number two is easy to understand. Easy to understand, write this down next to easy to understand. KISS, keep it short and simple. You don't got to talk to somebody for 30 minutes to communicate with them. Guys, the more you talk, the more chances of mistakes you got. It's just the way it works. You have to be easy to understand. Keep it short and simple for people. And if anybody ever talked to somebody and you knew they did not understand what you were saying, you get the deer in the headlights look? You have to find a way to communicate with that person, guys. And I work with people I could not communicate with. And I'm quite proud of myself as being a pretty good leader. So I noticed someone else in the office could communicate with them better. They got the results. So I was like, hey, so-and-so, do me a favor. Pat is driving me crazy. All right. No, it's like, your name is Pat, but the guy I'm talking about, his name is Pat. Just a coincidence. All right. Can you please go ahead and get with him? I know y'all have a great relationship, and this is what's going on. You got it? Boom, bam. And I found out as a leader, I'm a talent scout. You want to find out who can help you do what you need to do as a team. That's right. And since you can communicate with this person effectively, they're going to help you with the people that are tougher for you. Because everybody's not going to gel, but you have to be able to work together. You don't have to like them, but you have to be able to respect them. And you got to be able to love them because they're human and God told us to. Number three is you got to be encouraging. Guys, they have to feel good. We live in a feel-good society. What encouraging means, I'm not telling you to kiss their butt. What I'm saying is telling them things to get them to understand why they want to be better. Right. Hey, because if we do this, this is going to help us reach our goal. We're going to give a great worship or give a great praise. Or, for example, if we're evangelizing, hey, guys, we really got to make sure our pace is high so we can impact a whole lot of people, get all these flyers out in one day, and we can knock this out in 3 or 4 hours instead of us coming out here 2 or 3 days. Because, for one, the more people we talk to, more people are going to show up to church. All right, y'all ready? Let's move. Guys, you got to be encouraging. Number 4 is avoid the unnecessary. An effective communication, guys, when it comes to leadership, don't talk about things that don't matter. Get to the point. I hear so many people in work environments talking about stuff that has nothing to do with work. Like in my office, if you're talking to me about, or talking to the guys or the crew about this weekend or a show last night, you know what I say? Hey, Mike, is that going to help you make any money today? Is that going to help the person you're talking to reach their goal? That's right. No. Then let's change the subject. Guys, for example, in church, we get so off guard sometimes with talking about the little knickknacks. We're talking about the peas, and we're talking about the fork when there's a big steak on the plate. Guys, avoid unnecessary conversation, because what this does is it helps you avoid conflict. Because when you're talking about unnecessary conversation, a lot of times the person you're talking to may not agree with you. Then y'all get into a back and forth about how you feel and how so-and-so feels. Guys, the truth is, it's okay to feel differently. Yeah. Most people don't think how I think. It's cool. Yeah. I've been different my whole life. I'm not a regular person. It's cool with me. So, guys, one thing you got to do is avoid unnecessary conversation. It will save you some time and a whole lot of headache. B, it says evaluate who you are communicating with. And we touched on this earlier, guys. Does a person need to be addressed one-on-one, or does a person, can they handle open instruction? But understanding the person you're communicating with, sometimes people have aggressive personalities. Some people are confrontational by nature. And if I know I'm talking to a confrontational person, I'm going to limit how long I talk to that confrontational person. If I'm talking to a person who is very, very timid and easily offended and sensitive, I know that if I push the wrong button, that person may break down. So I got to understand, make sure I'm encouraging, I'm positive, that I kind of tiptoe around this situation, still get it addressed, but I have to make sure I know who I'm talking to. Like we have a young lady in our office. Guys, if anybody talks to her too long about a problem or something she needs to do better, she starts crying. No matter what. And it's not because anybody was rude to her. It's because at home she deals with all kinds of issues and they tell her she's not going to be nothing, blah, blah, blah. You know what I mean? So instantly when she starts hearing too much negativity from a person she sees as a superior, it just goes to, oh, I need to do better. I'm not doing well. Oh, her self-worth goes down. So you have to understand who you're communicating with. And if you don't understand them, ask somebody, hey, man, do you know so-and-so? Hey, how long have you known them? Because sometimes a person can give you a little bit of information that, hey, man, great person, great personality, very strong-minded, is someone that you may be able to consider for a leadership position. Then you can go and talk to them and find out a little bit more about them. Juice? It's a habit, guys. I had to say it at least once. All right. Next one. C is set clear expectations. Guys, if someone does not know the expectations, they are never going to meet the expectations. Like I remember, I believe it was 2 weeks ago, I was talking to Deke, and I was just sitting up front in my normal place, and I had on some jeans, some polo boots, and like a checkered shirt, and my black long johns underneath it or something. And I was sitting on the front row, and I kept seeing Mr. Porter taking the pictures for the church. And I'm like, man, I'm on the front row. He's taking pictures. I got on polo boots. And I just kind of felt away for a second. I asked Deke, hey, man, I'm sitting on the front row. I know you guys are more or less looking at me as a leader. I'm going to be getting involved in different stuff. Would it be better, or would you guys expect for me to start wearing suits? Because I can dress like this every day if you'd like me to. Because he's like, no, just be you. I just wanted to understand what the expectations were. And guys, one thing you have to do from the beginning, if you lay the expectations from the beginning, you avoid a lot of unnecessary issues. So for example, when your kids go to school, you let them know, hey, I expect for you to get A's and B's. If you don't let them know that, and you wait until the report card, now it's damage control. So for example, if you bring the team together, no matter what area of the ministry you're involved in, and you're the leader, you got to let the team know from the jump exactly what you expect of them. What pastor expects of us as a team, what we're held accountable for producing. So then when we're not meeting those requirements, we can address it. Next one. Guys, it says the team must know the goal. Know your goal as a leader and the goals of the team. Guys, D says learn to relate. Now, guys, the leader, remember we talked about you're going to deal with more problems than everyone else, right? Now, people are going to bring you problems with the team, problems with their performance, personal problems they may have at home. And if you can help them solve their problems until they're strong enough to solve their problems on their own, it's going to make your job as a leader much easier. Learning to relate, it says feel, felt, found. For example, we use this tool in our business when someone comes and tells us, hey, man, I just don't feel comfortable doing sales. And I'm honest with people. I'm not telling you to lie. I want you to be all the way honest. But nothing a person is going to deal with isn't something that one of us hasn't already dealt with. You remember you remember how you felt when you were a new member out the church? Yeah. Same way they feel. So, for example, when I tell a new person in sales, I say, hey, man, I feel where you're coming from. I felt the same way my first week. I'm a warehouse guy. I was unloading trucks for God knows how many years before I started doing this. So I feel you. I felt the same way. But I found out if I just gave myself a chance to learn and gave myself a chance to fight through it, that it's something I could be great at. And then you know what they say? You felt like this too? Yeah. Juice? Sorry. It's a habit. I say it like 500 times a day, guys. I'm sorry. All right, so it says feel, felt, found. Guys, please practice this. This will help you with anything. Your kids get picked on in school. Most of the people in here have been in a fight before, right? You made a bad grade, you failed. You have to be able to relate to the people, because if you can relate to them, they'll relate to you. And the more you're relatable, the more they're going to be transparent with you. Y'all want to know why we tell Pastor everything? He's very relatable. I'm just being honest with you. Guys, sometimes you're going to be able to relate to people because you have the same issues. Other times you're not going to be qualified. You're going to say, it's okay to say, hey, I don't know. Hey, man, how do I handle this? I tell my guys all the time, this area I'm an expert at. But what you're asking me right now, I have no clue. All right? But I know someone who's dealt with that before. Let me get you on the phone with them and see if they can help you out. And you know what happens? They respect you more because you weren't afraid to say you don't know. But what happens is a lot of leaders, they want to have all the answers, so they come up with some elaborate, throw a couple Bible verses in there and... Come on, man. Don't have a clue. Guys, don't set people up for failure. You got to be able to relate to them, guys. So use the feel, felt, found. This is something you have to practice. Next one, guys, we're going to continue. Guys, E, it says learn to give constructive criticism. So as a leader, there's one thing you're going to have to be able to relate to the team, and you're going to have to be able to correct problems because, again, you're the one who has to deal with the most problems. And, guys, on the sheets that we all passed out, it says build, break, build. This just helps you effectively communicate with a person how to fix an issue with themselves that they're dealing with. For example, if you want to tell someone how to fix something, start off with something they're doing well. Remember I was giving you the example of the guy who was pulling up the product we were selling? I built him up in the beginning. Hey, man, I love your excitement. Now what does that do? Makes them listen. Oh, you love my excitement? What do people like to hear about? They like to hear about themselves. Most people like to talk about themselves. So build them up. Tell them the things that they're doing great at. If you can't find nothing, make up something. I'll come up with simple stuff. I'm going to be honest. Hey, man, I love your shirt and tie. You're dressed sharp today. Hey, man, we really appreciate you showing up. You're showing your dedication. Don't lie. Be honest. But they have to get the effect of being built, broke, and built back up. This makes all the difference in the world. If you just come at someone with what they're doing wrong, instantly, most people don't listen. Or they get upset. And they're no longer listening. They're just waiting on their turn to talk. So they can explain to you why they were doing what they were doing. And if you would have said something to so-and-so, always start with a positive. This makes all the difference in the world. And you being able to give them the information they need to better themselves. Because that's all your goal is to do. As a leader is give them the information and hopefully they have enough respect for you and you set a good enough example for them to roll with the program. Most of the time, it's going to work. Not all the time, but majority of the time, it's going to work. We're going to continue, guys, building relationships. As leaders, it's our responsibility to build relationships, and it's going to happen naturally. If you're around anybody long enough, you're going to build a relationship. That's why you have friends you went to elementary and middle school with. You haven't seen them in 30 years, but they're still your friend, right? Because y'all built a relationship in that class. And you might have just sat next to each other. You may have never did anything outside the school. It was just that time. Building relationships. Guys, you don't have to write this down, but A says people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. Guys, to be honest, you have to care. If you don't care about people, you are not going to be an effective leader. They have to know that you are concerned with them, their well-being, their feelings, and their part in the team. So, for example, different stuff that you can do for people is things they like. Anybody like donuts? Everybody likes to be brought something. Everybody likes gifts, right? So while you're coaching a team, let's just say, for example, we're gathering together, we're having a rehearsal for a play, and you order 5 of those Little Caesars $5 pizzas. You know, somebody in there may be hungry. That might be their dinner for real. And they may go home and you know what they say? Hey, man, I really appreciate so-and-so bringing that pizza. That pizza was good. That's just showing care. For example, when you see somebody and they're not their normal selves, remember, you're going to be around them. So you're going to build a relationship without even trying to. Don't try so hard. Don't come to church looking for friends. Come on now. Say it again. Don't try. I'm serious. Let the relationship develop itself. And what happens is you'll get a chance to see the real them. If you're trying too hard,
No.
Anybody ever seen somebody trying and you know it's fake?
Come on, man.
They're trying to cover up all kinds of stuff, but you know the real? Guys, don't try so hard. And when someone shows you something different than what you're used to seeing because you're around them so much and you notice a difference in their morale, they're a little bit, their body language is different, you know what? Now you can go show how much you care.
Indeed. Indeed.
Hey, man, I notice you're not your normal self. You normally got the $1 billion smile. I see you normally like, what's going on, man? You all right? You know, I'm here for you if you need to talk. And because you've set the right example, because you've always communicated with them positively and encouraging, what happens is now you get to find out all the cards in the deck. They tell you all the problems. And then you can find out whether you can help them or not. Or if this is something very serious or something minor and they just think it's serious. And then if it's minor and they think it's serious, you can show them how minute this problem is as a leader. And how it's interfering with them making the biggest impact. Being yourself. So guys, you have to show people that you care. Guys, it says be yourself, but be the best version of yourself. Just be honest. Just be you. It's okay. If they like you, that's great. If they don't, that's great too. But they're going to respect you because you're honest. I'd much rather have a person that I honestly don't like very much, but they're honest with me and I can respect you versus there's someone who's putting on an act every time I see him. You can't operate as a team effectively or honestly. And guys, believe it or not, honesty is the most important thing. If you're honest with your team is going to be honest with you. If you're honest with your mate is going to be honest with you. Tell them what you like, no matter what the situation is. Hey, I love you, but I don't like when you do that. They may think you like it if you don't say nothing. It's the way it works. Guys, C says, listen more, talk less. I've kind of been touching on that, guys, throughout the topic, but listening, you have to become a great listener. The longer you listen, the more information you get. And you have to realize when you're listening that your goal is to find the meat. You want to find where this mentality, where this thought, where this negativity, or even the positive, you want to find out where it's coming from. Because if you know where it's coming from, you know how to deal with that person. For example, you ever listen to somebody and they tell you the same thing 7 times in a row? Then you realize it's time to step 8, take control. Because if I keep letting you talk, you're going to waste 30 minutes of my life. And you might affect my attitude. It's the way it works. So guys, listen more and talk less. Somebody used to do this to me. Yeah, you got 2 ears and 1 mouth. You should listen twice as much as you speak. It's funny, my wife used to say that. That's where that came from. I'm dead serious. Guys, it says, one says, most people talk too much, which results in personality conflicts and retrieving too little information to effectively address issues. This makes people feel that you're not genuinely concerned with them or their issue. It says, listen, don't wait on your turn to talk. Over-speaking shows a lack of interest in the person, the situation, and their point of view. And guys, number 3 says, if all else fails, smile and be friendly. Guys, you see something where it says ABC and it says it's an acronym, it says C. Right next to S, write down smile. Right next to smile, I would like for you to write down builds comfort and is contagious. When people smile, you're automatically comfortable with them. Somebody that is robbing you usually doesn't walk up and say, hey, how you doing? Give me all your money. No, usually it's the guy looking on me. So it's comforting, and it's contagious. When you smile at people, people smile back at you, whether they know you or not. What is this doing? This is also helping you build that relationship. Hey, I don't know so-and-so, but he's always smiling at me. She's always smiling when I see them. They seem nice. Even if the oldest, ugliest person in Houston with no teeth in their mouth pulls up next to your car at the red light today, and they do like this, you don't even think. You're going to smile and wave back. So if none of this stuff is working for you, the person you all can't get along, you're not solving the problems, just smile and be nice to them. B, it says E, stands for eye-to-eye contact. Next to eye-to-eye contact, I want you to write down builds trust. Guys, I don't know how everybody in here was raised. My mother always taught me, boy, look at me when I'm talking to you. If I wasn't looking at my mom's when she was talking, one or two things was going on. I was either not paying attention to what she was talking about, or two, I was thinking of a lie. Either way, I was getting slapped. And the last thing you ever want a person thinking is that you're not paying attention to them, or you have the ability of lying to them. So when you say hi to somebody, don't give them, hey. They're like, oh, why is he shaking my hand like that? Why? Everything is off. Smile. Hey, man, how you doing? What's going on? Everything, man. Nice to meet you. So eye-to-eye contact is what builds the trust. And the C stands for, C is E, enthusiasm.
Very good.
Enthusiasm, for one, it's contagious. Two, it builds curiosity. Why are you so excited? It's the way it goes. Like, guys, everybody in here was single at one point in time. Like, everybody's been out on a Friday or Saturday night. Like, guys, I've been in red lights before. People pull up next to a car full of girls. They sit in the car quiet. We may just sit there until the light turns green and we leave. But if they pull up, they're bouncing, listen to music, hair swinging, radio turned up loud. Where y'all headed? Right? So, for example, in church, when you're enthused, or when you're out communicating and you're evangelizing, giving out flyers, or talking about the father-daughter talk, or posting stuff on Facebook, people feed off of that energy. And people are not going to be excited if you're not excited. Enthusiasm is something that is caught, it is not taught. I can teach you step by step how to sell, but I can't teach you how to be excited. Most of the time, the people that you tip at your restaurants, you're not tipping them because of how good the food is. You're tipping them on how positive their attitude was and how excited they were about serving you. So if all else fails, let's do this. And be excited. Now, guys, I was speaking with one of the leaders in my office about 2 months ago, and he was talking to me about something. Now, the truth is, this guy's one of those people who's always talking too much. He's a very high-maintenance individual. He's a 50-year-old man. He's got a PhD. He thinks he knows everything in the world. But he was talking to me, and guys, the truth is, you can learn even from people that get on your nerves. He said something. He's like, hey, Bryan, you know what I think God's inheritance is? And I was like, oh, here we go with this again. That's what I'm thinking in my head, right? But I'm smiling. I'm like, what? He's like, Bryan, I think God's inheritance is people. I was like, why do you say that? He said, God's always talking about blessing, opening up the windows of heaven. He's like, but everything we need and everything we do is through people. God will send you people that you need to make the difference, whether it's finances, improving your mentality, or whatever. And he says, as leaders, the better leaders we are, the more God blesses us with his inheritance. What makes a church work? People. What makes a successful entertainer? He's got to have a team. He's got to have people behind him. What makes a successful family? The people in the family. So, guys, I really, really hope that we were able to get something out of this meeting that you can apply to help you be successful. Wow. Oh, thank you. Wow. Wow.